Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this meeting of the Licensing Committee. I am Councillor Mike Bland, Chair of this committee. I would like to remind everyone present that this meeting is being filmed and made available to view in live and archive form via the Council's website. If you are seated in the public gallery, it is possible that the cameras may capture your image. If you wish to avoid being filmed, it is recommended you make a member of staff aware who can direct you where to sit. There is no fire alarm planned for this morning. Should the alarm sound, please leave via the nearest available emergency exit. Two of the closest exits are through the glass door behind you to my left and through the double doors onto the riverside behind you. Please muster at Tower House car park. Members of the public are welcome to make their own recordings of the meeting using whatever non-disruptive methods they think are suitable. This meeting is being minuted, recorded, and will be uploaded to the Council's website. Item 1, apologies for absence. Pippa, do we have any apologies?
We have apologies from Councillor Mackenzie.
Do we have any substitute members?
Councillor Brady is present for Councillor Mackenzie.
Thank you. Item number 3, declarations of interest by councillors and officers. Pippa, are there any declarations?
None that I've been notified of, no.
Item 4, minutes of the meeting held on 7th of July 2025. Can we agree the minutes of this meeting held on 7th of July 2025 as a true record? That meeting was a meeting of the full Licensing Committee. We can do that by general assent. Do I have general assent? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Those minutes are agreed. Item 5, this is in respect of public participation, and I do not believe that we have any public speakers registered for the meeting. No. Okay, item 6. This is delegation of functions under the Gambling Act 2005. This is to consider the report of Jan Geiler, Head of Legal and Monitoring Officer, and I'm going to ask our principal lawyer, Peter Key, to actually introduce this item. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is a essentially technical exercise, although there's a discretion, with regard to who carries out the functions of the licensing authority under the Gambling Act 2005. To take a step back, just to set the context, Acts of Parliament, statutes and statutory instruments give a myriad of functions to local authorities, and the local authority via council and cabinet in the constitution delegate those functions to committees or to officers. And that is done under the 1972 Local Government Act, Section 101. So that's a system of delegation which applies to almost all functions, not all, but almost all, and it's what councillors may be very familiar with, and it's what the Constitution's chapter on delegation is all about. However, a different system was introduced by the Licensing Act 2003. That's the act that deals with alcohol and other forms of regulated activity. And that set up a licensing committee, and it gave all the functions of the licensing authority, which is Canterbury City Council. It gave all those functions to the licensing committee, and the 2003 Licensing Act then provides that the licensing committee may set up a subcommittee and may delegate functions to officers and to that licensing subcommittee. And that is what has happened. And that is as I say, different and to the 1972 Act system of delegation. After the Licensing Act 2003 came the Gambling Act 2005, and it has a number of provisions which delegate to the Licensing Committee from the 2003 Act the 2005 Act functions. And in a way, you could say that the Gambling Act 2005 rides pickaback on the 2003 Act by using the Licensing Committee set up under the 03 Act. So by virtue of the provisions in the Gambling Act, which are referred to in the report, Section 154, Section 232, and that's Parts 8 and 9 of the Gambling Act, and Schedules 10, 12, 13, and 14, functions are given to this committee. And it's necessary for this committee to make a decision to delegate those functions to the licensing subcommittee and to licensing officers. Going back to the 03 Act, there is statutory guidance, and the statutory guidance has a table of delegations. And that table of delegations was adopted into our Canterbury's 2003 Act, Licensing Act policy. Similarly, the Gambling Commission has produced a table of recommended delegations for the licensing subcommittee and officers. And that Gambling Commission guidance table of delegations has been adopted by Canterbury into Canterbury's gambling policy. And what this report is asking this committee to do is to delegate to officers and to the licensing subcommittee in accordance with the appendix to our gambling policy, which, as I say, is borrowed or adopted from the National Gambling Commission's guidance and advice on delegation. And hence the recommendation is to delegate to the licensing subcommittee and to licensing officers those functions delegated to the licensing committee, that's this committee, under the Gambling Act 2005, and to do so in accordance with the table of delegations set out at Appendix 4 to the Council's gambling policy statement, which was adopted by Council on 24th of October 2024 and which came into effect on the 31st of January 2025. And that, I think, summarises what this is about and what the committee are being asked to do.
Thank you very much, Peter. So you've heard what the resolution is. I'm not going to repeat it. You've seen it. I so move that, and I'd seek a seconder for that. Right, okay.
Second.
Councillor Naomi Smith has seconded that. Now, there's possibility for debate here. Does anybody wish to debate this? Right, okay. Councillor Mellish I've seen first.
Not to debate, perhaps, just a little bit of explanation, perhaps, from Peter. As I say, it was adopted by Council in 24 and came into effect in January 25. Why is it taking a year to come to us, or over a year to come to us to actually implement? So there haven't been any changes to the Appendix 4, because I've had a quick look through. I have another question after this, please, Chair.
It's a very fair question, and the matter came across my desk because I'm aware of an existing application under the Act, which, on looking carefully at it, it's necessary to find out who's authorised. And this gap was noted. And so the purpose of this meeting is to remedy that gap. It's a very technical, some people find it tedious area or intricate area, sub-delegation and delegation. And it should have been done. And I think in future, because when the licensing committee meets each year for a few years, it's been doing this, making a resolution very similar to this with regard to the 2003 Act, the mainly Alcohol Regulation Act. And I think in future, at its annual general meeting, I'll recommend that it also repeats this resolution if the committee makes the resolution, and then we'll have something, a practice set in place that gets it done properly once a year, every year.
Okay, your second question.
Thank you, Chair. Please indulge me. It's just a bit of clarification again. Just a, excuse me. I take it where obviously on the Appendix 4, where of our policy, where there's an X, that means that it's undertaken by that committee, by this licensing committee. I just also note that, for instance, applications for other permits, cancellation of licensed premises, gaming machine permits, etc., are only done by officers. It's been delegated completely to officers. Is that correct? So where the licensing committee is blank, as it were, is a grey.
Sorry, are you referring to Schedule 4?
Yes,
of the
Appendix
gambling
4 of our gaming policy.
Turn to it.
Yeah.
And sorry, which...
And just on the, because it's on page 49, the version I got, yes. It's just the last part of the delegation table. It says, for instance, applications for other permits. It's blank under, it's grey or blank under the licensing committee, and there's just an X for officers.
Yes,
so that means that
I think the X is the way they do it for indicating that that's the chosen person. It could be a tick. A tick might be better.
Yeah. I see. I think the point was, Chair, if at some point the licensing committee was saying, hang on, we don't want to, on this particular occasion, we don't want to defer it to the officers, we can call it back in as we may wish. I can't see circumstances where that would happen, but there may be. Yeah.
Well, I agree. It's blacked out the licensing subcommittee on applications for other permits. And in doing so, all I can say is that that's how it's done in the guidance. So it's just following what the guidance has said. And by the way, on this business of an X, where a tick might be better, this is the Gambling Commission guidance, which uses the X system to indicate a yes. Yeah.
My problem really, Chair, X or tick. Just if we wanted to call it back into the subcommittee, then it could be done so if we wished. Yeah.
I think, I mean, basically, it would operate in a similar way as the licensing subcommittee deals with alcohol issues and so on. So if there is a matter of public interest and if there have been objections to a particular application and so on and so forth, that generally is not then decided by officers but comes through a licensing subcommittee. So I think the answer to your question has got to be yes.
Could I just say, for the record, this is following the Gambling Commission way of doing it, which seems a very safe way of going about delegation. And the greying out on our Appendix 4, if one compares it with other greyings out, is indicating that there isn't authority delegated there. So I should just make that point of how one would interpret the greying out.
Okay, I think Councillor Auld, you had a question?
Thank you, Chair. In the introduction to Peter's explanation, thank you for that, you hinted that there was some discretion available to the committee. Is the discretion just of the nature of a binary choice of take it or leave it, or is there more discretion than that and is perhaps a bit more nuanced? Thank you.
Well, I think I was starting a sentence saying something like the resolution that the committee will make today. And then I backed off because that sounded too presumptive and assuming that, and I didn't want to be assuming that necessarily it would make. So there is a discretion, but it would be binary. And yes, that was the reason. I didn't want to be impolite to the committee by suggesting that you will definitely do it.
Is that okay? Right. Were there any other questions? Okay. If there are no other questions, then I'd simply like to take this to the vote. And I think, Pippa, we're going to do this as a recorded vote. So, Pippa, can we do that?
And that's carried unanimously, Chair.
Thank you very much. That's carried. And therefore we can go on to our next item, which is date of next meeting. At the moment, it's 10 o'clock on a Monday, the 18th of May. Is that confirmed, right?
It will be confirmed at annual council.
Okay, that will be confirmed at annual council. Okay. Okay, I mean, since it's not fully been confirmed yet, so apologies may need to arise after the annual meeting, because that's when this date will be confirmed.
Yeah.
We got that? The answers, right, okay. Okay, so, right, item 8, there is no other urgent business to be dealt with in public. Item 9 isn't required, which is exclusion of press and public. Item 10, any other urgent business, and there has been none notified. So we've dealt with the business, and I hereby close the meeting with thanks to everybody for a full turnout. It's very good, including our substitute, of course. Okay. Thank you very much.